welcome Lee to the mic, to the live stream open mic. Lee,
Hey, Donnie.
hello again. How are you?
I'm great. How are you doing?
I'm good. I'm doing well. I just week by week. I
Yep.
like this little weekly check-in. You kind of get to see, what time has passed as
Yeah,
opposed to just being lost.
it's good on our end too. I kind of start writing something over the weekend and then I kind of
Yeah,
tweak it and I have something to kind of look
right.
forward to doing, which is really nice. So thank you again for doing this.
Of course. Yeah. Yeah, my pleasure. I do have something new on your sheet here that I'm going to put up for you.
What's been the ambient sounds of my week, or not so ambient as it turns
That's
out to
great.
be.
Yeah, that's Fiona Apple, huh?
Yeah. Have you listened to that yet?
I haven't. I was going to try to today after I saw your email, especially, and I haven't yet. I'll have to tonight. Hopefully, there's some lullabies in there.
Yeah, no.
Okay.
It's I read a profile of her a few weeks. I couldn't wait for this to come out. Not that I've been excited about her in a decade or so, but this
Right.
record's great. I love it.
Good. I'm excited about it too. Listen to it. Something new that's coming out right now is kind of like an opportune moment because you have the time, I suppose, and
Yeah,
it's kind of like, let me see what's fresh,
yeah. I mean, it's no Fishman sisters, don't get me wrong, but
Okay.
it's pretty good though.
Awesome. So you have a new reading or
I
a
do.
reading?
I do.
Great.
Um,
Okay.
yeah,
When
thank
you're
you.
ready.
I'm ready. It's
Okay.
called it's called Pat Benatar Rules and Rush Sucks.
All right.
In junior high, a kid I'll call Roy started out as mildly entertaining before becoming a full-fledged bully. I remember thinking of him as a firing squad. I always knew he'd take shots at everyone and eventually wind up on me. Once in music class, we listened to the song Hungry Like the Wolf, and you know how toward the end the woman moans as the song fades out? Well, Roy, a big kid who didn't look like he bathed much but had gold curly hair like Aphrodite, did a fairly good imitation and we all laughed along. The teacher didn't stop Roy. For some reason, teachers seldom stopped Roy. Mr. Scanlon probably decided it was easier to let Roy's erotic wailing wind down with the song and then we'd all just get on with it. Roy also was mean and bigoted, and like most insecure boys his age, he reserved a special brand of humiliation for girls he thought were conceited or didn't like him. I remember his favorite joke, which he'd yell as a girl walked by his table in the cafeteria. What do you, insert girl's name here, what do the girl's name and tampons have in common? They're both stuck up, cover your ears, cunts. Kids would laugh as the poor girl scurried away as fast as she could and no one came to her defense. Let's face it, we were all a bit afraid of him and didn't want him to turn his meanness on us. But he did. My problem with Roy was, well, musical. I was a huge Pat Benatar fan. I called her the ruler, while Roy loved the band Rush. So when Roy would confront me with his go-to insult, Pat Benatar sucks, I would screw up the courage to come back with my own cutting and well-rehearsed retort, no, Rush sucks, occasionally adding, and Geddy Lee looks like an antelope. On like this, we went through seventh into eighth grade until the joyous occasion of my 13th birthday when I saw The Ruler in concert at Madison Square Garden. In school the next day, I was a newly minted teenager, rocking my oh so 80s black and white concert jersey, strutting down the hall without a care in the world until I saw Roy. He was seated against the wall beside a chalkboard. He just shook his head as I took my seat a few rows away. Class started and I felt Roy's eyes on me with the heat of 1,000 suns, waiting for his chance to give me a great big burn. Still, I sat up tall, which was tough considering I was only about 4'8", a statuesque 4'11" if you counted my Flock of Seagulls haircut, but I was determined to not let Roy get to me. I was, after all, fresh from the garden with my first rock show under my belt, and Roy was just a big dumb jerk. In front of the classroom, Mrs. Fisher droned on about algebra, blah, blah. Then she turned to write on the blackboard. Out the corner of my eye, I saw Roy write on the chalkboard beside him, surreptitiously drawing the letter P. And then, with the methodical patience of a true psychopath, He waited for each moment that Mrs. Fisher's back was turned to add another letter. A, T. Oh, shit, I saw where this was going. I was quick like that. The entire class knew too, and ever so quietly tittered so Roy, who was grinning at me, could continue his handiwork without Mrs. Fisher catching on. Benatar. It took up a lot of class time for Roy to write all those letters, and finally, as Mrs. Fisher saw what Roy was up to, he finished his stupid masterpiece. SUCKS! Exclamation, exclamation. The class erupted and I felt hot tears in my eyes. Yes, that was the moment I bent but did not break. But you know what Mrs. Fisher did? She smiled. Then she told Roy in a voice that sounded like she didn't really want to say it, but he was going to have to erase the board. In retrospect, of course, it was funny. And if I had been Mrs. Fisher, I probably would have laughed too, at least a little bit. But it was mean. I got over it, and as time went on, and as these things go, my love for the ruler subsided, and by high school, Roy was a lot less of a jerk and had some nice friends. Maybe that helped turn things around for him. Or perhaps someone had finally stood up to him or was kind or something as simple as that. Maybe with some bullies, small human things are enough to help them become decent people when all is said and done. I lost touch with Roy after high school, but I know that he made me a better person. He made me want to stand up for people and try a little harder to stop bullies before they make like a firing squad to bend and sometimes break those gentler souls who have the misfortune of merely being in their path. I know also that Rush has always sucked, and although I'm sure he's a lovely guy, Geddy Lee does in fact look like an antelope. Thank you. I love the whistle at the end.
Oh, that's great. Yeah. So you
I hope
wrote
you're not
that
a
this
Rush
week.
fan, Donnie.
You know, I have a Rush cassette that I do like very much.
And you bust that out often, clearly, the cassette. So
Yeah.
come
Well, every time I come across a cassette tape player.
don't get me wrong, they were fine. I wouldn't have loathed them as much if this hadn't, if I hadn't
Without the story.
enjoyed like
Right.
this as a child. Yes.
No, that's great. Maybe Rush is a little stuck up.
It's just so dude. I was a 13-year-old
Yeah.
girl. It was such dude music.
Yeah. No, it is.
Not in a
Yeah.
good way. Not in a good way.
And not in a good way
Yeah.
either. Yeah. Well, Canadians.
My point exactly.
Sorry,
We love our
Canadians
friends in the
watching.
Great White North. We love them. Uh,
They had a great drummer, so
yeah,
what can
they
you
did.
say?
May he rest
Yeah.
in peace. Yes.
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 Thank you so much